lifesavers. So what we did is what I always do with my clients. Whenever the concept comes up through the system, the method that I'm going to be explaining later on in today's show, the concept comes up and we go to the computer and we look for information about that concept. I'm not an expert on every word. I'm not an expert on every concept. So we have to look it up. We have to discover what the word means. And that's exactly what we did. We went to the computer and we looked lifesaver up. And we discovered that lifesavers are usually white and have bright colored stripes so they can be easily seen in the water. Funnily enough, this lady always dresses in oranges and bright blues and bright reds. Funny, right? Lifesavers are very light. As I said, this lady is petite. Lifesavers save lives. That's what they do. Well, this woman has been a volunteer her whole life, and she spends her hours, her life, helping other human beings. She's always there for her friends, and she's always she volunteers at a library, for example, and she's always helping other human beings. So, other characteristics of lifesavers that really, really surprised me were, well, lifesavers have to be attached or tied by means of a rope or something like that, because if you throw a lifesaver into the sea without tying it to the ship, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, the tides and the currents can take it away. The lifesaver just goes along with the water. It just lets the water take it wherever the water wants to go. When this lady discovered her personal essence and we were discussing the characteristics of lifesavers, she's the one who pointed this characteristic out to me, and she said, you know what? There is something I am very, very similar to lifesavers in. I said, really? What? And she said, well, I always go with everyone. I let everyone take me. It's like I can't control myself. And if someone calls me, I just go. Someone else calls me, I go too. So I go from here, there, la, la, la. I have no control. My husband has to tie me very tightly so I don't go away with everyone. This woman had originally come to me as a humanologist because she had always suffered from depressions. She'd been in and out of institutions and hospitals her whole life. She would sink into depression, but then blah, 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 she would resurface again. Sink, blah, 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 resurface again. Sink, blah, 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 resurface again. That's another characteristic of lifesavers, isn't it? They can't really be sunk. You cannot really sink them because they float. No matter what you try, they float again. And this was one of the main characteristics of this lady. Well, the day she understood that it was in her nature to always resurface, she relaxed for the first time in her life and decided it didn't matter if she had other depressions in the future because she knew she would resurface. Isn't that nice? Well, in this particular case, knowing her personal essence really helped this lady face her own life and decide what she was going to do in her future. That is one of the advantages of knowing what your personal essence is. Once you know what it is, you will understand why your life is the way it is, why your life was the way it was, and how your life can be. Because you'll be able to take control of your own being. You will fully understand yourself. That is the reason why I don't usually tell anybody's personal essence. It's a secret. It's something completely confidential. I would never say a person's name and that person's personal essence. I would never make it easy for anyone to guess what another person's personal essence is. Because if you know a person's essence, you immediately know a lot of things about that human being. You know that human being's main characteristics and traits. Personal essence, I said at the beginning, is the only part of the human being that doesn't change in life. It's the only part of the human being that remains constant and always the same. I worked with children, I worked with teenagers, I worked with adults, and I worked with elderly people. And the elderly, even up to 90 something years of age, told me, you're right. I always was blah, 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 whatever their personal essence was. And I could never understand it until today. Personal essence is something that can be discovered by means of a tool that I developed myself. But let me try and put some more music on today. Let me try and add a little music to our show and inspire you before we move on to the next part of today's conversations with Jessica. And remember, you can still win that copy of Caribou. I don't know how many people might be listening to the show live, and I don't know how many of those people have access to the chat. If you can't have access to the chat, but you're on my Facebook page, you can also use the messenger to tell me what you think your personal essence is, so you can win the copy of Caribou. All right? So go for it. Tell me what you think your personal essence is. In the meantime, I'm going to try and put the music on so you can listen to it. Let's see if I can do this right because, well, I didn't seem to do it right the first time. I'm not very, very inspired. I'm not very good at this. So let me just try and do it now, okay? Are you ready? Let's try and put some music on. This is George Winston, December. I think it looks like I finally did it. I put some music on and you could all hear it. Yee! Kudos for me. Sorry, it's the first time I do this live and I'm here trying to learn as I go. But, I'm light, so I learned fast. Okay, here I am joking with you all who are not getting back to me on the chat. Remember, today you can win a copy of Caribou, one of my books. This one is for children, and it's a bilingual edition in Spanish and English. You just have to write on the chat or even on Messenger, on my Facebook account. If you want to win this copy of Caribou, just tell me, what do you think your own personal essence could be? So we were talking about personal essence, one of the 4 key elements, basic elements in human beings. I told you what personal essence is. I told you that personal essence is something that we all have and that somehow defines us from birth. Well, I gave you 2 or 3 examples. My own is light beam. And I told you there are many, many different types of personal essences. I also encouraged you to send me your questions, your comments through the chat and through my email address, info@jessicajlockhart.com, so I can answer them here live. But let's go back to personal essence. Personal essence, how can it help me? Well, we already said that personal essence can help you understand yourself. It can help you understand or make sense of your past experiences. It can also help you make sense of your present, who you are. And it can also help you decide regarding whatever, based on what you are. But there's more. Once you know what your personal essence is, you discover a way to go back to your personal essence, like to reconnect. And when you reconnect, you immediately feel re-energized. And I can't explain it any better. Every human being who discovered their personal essence explained the same feeling, explained the same re-energization. Whenever they go back to their personal essence, it's like if they plugged their fingers in a socket and got energy into their bodies. They feel stronger, they feel more powerful, they feel more ready to face whatever it is they're facing. So today, whenever I have a challenge in front of me, or whenever there is a problem, or whenever I'm feeling upset or angry or bad, I go back to my personal essence. I go back to my light. I am light. And it's like that problem starts shrinking and becomes smaller. Or I become bigger and stronger, I don't know. But it happens every single time and to every person who discovered their personal essence. Okay, discovering personal essence is something that we humanologists can help you with. We use a 3-step process. The first one is a set of questions, is a questionnaire that gives us humanologists some basic knowledge of who you are. The second part of the process is like a guided type of meditation. We help you, or we try to simulate a state of flow. We help you get into a state of flow. And then we get the information from the questions you answered and your experience in that state of flow. And we start guiding you in your search for your personal essence. I have taught other humanologists how to use this process, this technique, or this method. And they're doing it. They're helping human beings discover their personal essence. But I haven't yet been able to teach anyone to do it on their own. And we're working on that right now as we're talking. We're working on that so we can give this tool to the world, so we can help every human being discover what their personal essence is. But you can try. You can try and ask yourself what it is that you are. Personal essence is always a concept. It's not a word, although I only used one word, personal essences, today in the show. But there's, for example, one lady whose personal essence is